Listen carefully. You don't fail because you're incapable. You fail because you're inconsistent. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. Because it's easier to believe you lack talent than to accept that you lack discipline. You start things, you get excited, you feel motivated. For a moment, you believe this time will be different. But then something happens. You get tired, you get distracted, you lose the feeling, and suddenly you stop. Not because you had to, but because you felt like it. And that's where everything falls apart. Because you built your progress on motivation, and motivation is temporary. It comes when things are easy. It disappears when things get hard. Let's be honest for a second. How many times have you told yourself that you would change, that you would wake up earlier, that you would work harder, that you would finally become disciplined? And for a few days, you actually tried, you felt different, you felt focused, but then you slipped. You missed one day, and instead of getting back on track, you let that one mistake turn into many. That's how it always happens. Not in a dramatic way, but in a quiet, gradual decline. One missed day becomes two. Two becomes a week. And before you realize it, you're back where you started. That's the cycle that keeps you stuck. Not lack of knowledge, not lack of ability, but lack of consistency. And life gets hard. The moment you face resistance, your mind looks for comfort. It tells you, take a break. You deserve it. You can do it later, and you listen. That's the problem, because every time you choose comfort, you weaken your identity. You become someone who quits, slowly, quietly, without even realizing it. And then one day, you look at your life, and you don't recognize it. You see unfinished goals, broken promises, wasted potential. Not because you couldn't succeed, but because you didn't stay consistent long enough. Consistency is everything. Not talent, not intelligence, not luck, consistency. Doing what you said you would do every single day, especially when you don't feel like it. That's where the difference is made. Because success is not built on your best days. Anyone can work hard when they feel motivated. Anyone can push when they feel inspired. That's easy. What's hard is showing up when you don't feel anything. When your body is tired, when your mind is heavy, when your motivation is gone, those are the days that matter. Because those are the days most people quit, they stop, they delay, they make excuses, and they tell themselves, I'll start again tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes. It becomes next week, next month, next year, and nothing changes. A disciplined person is different. They don't negotiate with their feelings. They don't ask, do I feel like it? They act because they decided, but not easy. Because discipline is not about intensity. It's about consistency. Anyone can go all in for one day. Anyone can be motivated for a week, but very few people can stay consistent for months, for years. That's why most people stay average, because average is comfortable, and comfort is addictive. The moment you get used to avoiding discomfort, you lose your edge. You stop growing, you stop pushing, you stop becoming better, and slowly you become weaker. Not physically, but mentally, you lose control. You start relying on how you feel instead of what you know you should do. And that's dangerous because feelings change, but standards don't. A disciplined person has standards. Discipline is not something you feel, it's something you build. And it's built in moments like this. Moments where you don't feel ready, moments where you feel tired, moments where your mind is looking for excuses. That's where discipline is created, not when everything is aligned, not when everything feels perfect, but when everything feels wrong and you still choose to move forward. That's what makes you different, because most people wait for the perfect moment. But the truth is, there is no perfect moment. There is only now. And what you choose to do with it. They wake up early, not because they want to, but because they decided to. They work when they don't feel like it. They push when it's uncomfortable. They continue when it's boring because they understand something most people ignore. Progress is not exciting. It's repetitive, it's slow, it's often invisible, but it compounds. Every small action, repeated daily, builds something powerful over time. But inconsistency destroys everything. It resets your progress. It kills your momentum. It weakens your confidence. Because every time you quit, you prove to yourself that you can't be trusted. And that's the real problem, not failure, but self-doubt. Because how can you believe in yourself if you constantly break your own promises? You say you'll start, you say you'll change, you say you'll be better, and then you don't follow through over and over again. That destroys your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone capable. You start seeing yourself as someone who quits. And once that belief is formed, everything becomes harder. That's why discipline is not just about action. It's about identity. It's about becoming someone who does what they say, no matter what. Even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when it feels pointless. Because that's where real strength is built. Not in moments of excitement, but in moments of resistance, when everything in you wants to stop, but you choose to continue. That's power. That's control. That's what separates you. Because most people won't do that. Most people will choose comfort. They will wait. They will delay. They will hope things change, but nothing changes until you do. And change doesn't come from motivation. It comes from decision. A decision to stop negotiating with yourself. A decision to act no matter how you feel. A decision to stay consistent no matter what. Because consistency creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence creates results. And results change your life. But it all starts with one thing: doing what you said you would do when you don't feel like doing it. Think about the version of yourself you could become if you simply stayed consistent, not perfect, not extreme, just consistent. Imagine where you would be in 6 months, in 1 year, if you stopped quitting, if you stopped starting over, if you finally committed and followed through. That version of you already exists, but it's waiting on one thing: your decision to stop being inconsistent, your decision to stop breaking your own promises, your decision to become someone reliable to yourself. So the next time you feel like stopping, remember this: that moment is everything. That moment is where your future is decided. You either quit and stay the same, or you push through and become someone new, someone stronger, someone more focused, someone more disciplined. And once you become that person, there's no going back. Stay consistent, stay focused, stay disciplined. Wealth is built in silence.